Hello everybody. I'm glad to greet you on behalf of Idea Bytes today on our webinar dedicated to cybersecurity. So basically it's a series, and today we're having our second episode of the series. So if you're interested, you can request and get the link for this first one. And today we are going to talk about security and privacy pitfalls and concerns when we are dealing with mobile apps that collect basically our data. And especially now, this topic is really acute since we're all dealing with mandatory applications. And so today we would like to help you to recognize some common pitfalls and how to avoid them, basically. So let me introduce our host. It's Thierry Bella, who is our Chief Security Architect at Idea Bytes, and I'm glad to give the floor to him. So let's start the session. So Thierry, I cannot hear you. Yes. So welcome everybody, and so let's begin.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, our agenda today has the following topic. We will talk about the data privacy and the issues that are related to it, and we will talk about the application and API security, and after that we will discuss how you can limit the scope of the privacy issues as a user or as a business. And at the end, we will have questions and answered. And the meeting is recorded. You will receive a link to watch the recording at the end.
Okay.
So I'm a security architect here at Idea Bytes. So I'm in charge of anything related to security or coding. And I'm also in charge of mentoring the students. And we have worked with many schools here in Ottawa, like Willis College, for example. And I'm in the IT for over 50 years. So I like anything that is related to security, vulnerabilities, privacy, and also a little bit of coding. Okay, let's introduce our topic. You know that the governments are currently mandatoring COVID tracing app or the QR code. And those applications usually collect a lot of data that seem harmless, like they use the Bluetooth to collect your contact, and they can use also the GPS to track your location. And that comes with some concerns that may not be that may not appear at the first sight. First of all, the data manipulated are very sensitive. So that we collect things like your location, who you meet, where you meet people, which place you visit. They may also have your health information. And that information is valuable for multiple purposes like surveillance or advertising. And it will also be of a high interest for criminals. So about the privacy concern, the Bluetooth and location data, when they have that information, they know everything about your whereabouts. And those information, those applications manipulate private data that can be used for identity theft or phishing. The data can be cross-referenced. Usually they say that the data is anonymized, but it can be cross-referenced and used to de-anonymize users. And most of the users never read the privacy policy, so they don't know for how long the data will be kept, or what is the purpose of the data collection beyond tracking your contact. Is there any use for that for the collected data? Most of the people do not read the privacy policy. They just use the application. So what could possibly go wrong with the privacy? Let's imagine you visit a store, and sometime after you start receiving advertisement about promotions in that store and so on. So the advertisement keep following you around. Or they will be able to know that you are visiting a certain place. Maybe you are you will vote for that party and not for the other because you went to a meeting and so on. So they will know they will know you better than yourself. And on the other side, most of these apps have vulnerabilities. So in the news recently in Quebec, they created the COVAX app, and before the app was published, a hacker was able to collect the personal information of the government officials, including the QR code and private information. So when you use those apps, you should be aware of the fact that you are giving away your information, and it can land in the hands of criminals. And the vulnerabilities will lie on at many levels. The first level is the application. The application may be cracked to reveal your personal information. And those apps will usually talk to an API server. The API server can be breached to steal information, and that happened a lot of time. If you heard the news, you will see a lot of data breach that include contact tracing, app data stolen, or health data stolen. So what will the criminal do with the stolen data? They can perform phishing. If they have your phone number, they will call you and try to phish you. Or if they have your email address, they will also try to phish you. They can perform identity theft. And if they can anonymize the data, they can do even further harm, like knocking at your door. You heard about the CRA scam where people are calling you to ask for money. They can even knock at your door pretending they are CRA agent and they are coming to collect money, and because they had that information from the breach. So how can you protect yourself? So the first thing is to read the privacy policy. What are they collecting? How long will they store the information? Will they delete that information ever? Are they sharing that information with third party? You should be aware of that before you start using the app. The other option is to remove to reduce the amount of data collected. For example, you can turn off Bluetooth data collection. You can turn off GPS collection and so on. You can minimize and turn off the location tracking. The location tracking is a very sensitive information. I remember when people would design the HTML standard, they introduced the GPS feature. So using the web browser or a web app, you were able to check in some app like Squarespace. You will check in, hey, I'm in the store, hey, I'm in Manhattan, hey, I'm in this location, I'm the mayor. It was really fun at the time, and people did not foresee the danger of sharing your location. What people didn't know is that the thieves are also using those apps, and they will follow you without telling that they are thief. When you will say, hey, I'm away from home for holidays, they will use that information and break into your house, steal everything. That happened to multiple users before applications started issuing warnings that sharing your location can be dangerous. So pay attention to what you are sharing online. So if I'm a hacker, I have your data. I know which place you visit, when you visit, for how long you visit. I can attack you based on that. So location is very important. You should minimize how much data is collected. And the next option is you should also use a data breach monitoring service. There is a good service which is also free. It is called ihavebeenpwned.com. You can go there, register. When you will enter your phone number or the email address, it will show you all the data breaches where your email address or your password or your phone number has been compromised. And they will also warn you whenever a new data breach happens, they will warn you that your password has been compromised, your email has been compromised, or your phone number, and you can take action to change your password. You can also use a password manager, such as the Firefox web browser built-in password manager, Microsoft Edge password manager, or the Google password manager. They will also monitor your information. If there is any data breach, they will warn you to change your password eventually. So now, if you are a company, how can you protect your user data? You should make sure that the collection, transmission, and storage of the data you collect is secure. For example, by using a secure protocol, encryption. You should also comply to any legal requirement for the data you are manipulating. There are standards like EPA, PCI DSS, and so on. So depending on the nature of the data you manipulate, you should comply to those standards. You should also have your application and API verified by security experts to avoid any breach. And here in IdeaByte, we are also specialized in security, which involves penetration testing. We already work with some companies to find issues and remediate to a possible data breach, misconfiguration, or possible hack in applications. So we checked your web, mobile apps and APIs, and we find possible issues before the hacker do. So if you heard the news, most of the breaches do not only come from hacking, it also comes from server misconfigurations. So it's important to have a security expert review your application and your APIs to make sure that you are not exposing your user data. And we also offer you the possibility to evaluate your applications for free. And you can fill the form at the URL that is mentioned in the screen, or you send an email to contact@ideabyte.com. And thank you for everyone who attended the meeting. We will jump to the question and answer part.
Yeah, thank you, Thierry. Yes, if anybody has any question regarding the content of this webinar or any questions regarding cybersecurity in general, maybe, yes. And also maybe regarding the services that Thierry mentioned, how you can apply and what's included in the diagnostic of your potential vulnerabilities. So please feel free to ask. So, Saidur, could you please vocalize your question for everybody so that Thierry could answer it? So, I suppose you... Okay, Thierry, we have a question in the chat. So
Yeah.
could you please, yes, have a look at it and give your comments.
Yeah, Pegasus spyware. Usually, the detection of spyware is performed using tools. There are tools provided by vendors that will detect them. Usually, they have modules to stay hidden or to disable the antivirus. But you can take steps to prevent the infection first by avoiding to open any email from people you don't know, attachment from people you don't know, because hackers will hide the payload in, for example, Word documents, in emails, and they will send it to you. And when you will open that email, that's how you will get infected. So you should take some steps like that. You should not open attachment from people you don't know or you don't trust. You should not open a sensitive information in the company network. For example, I remember, I think it was last year in Montreal, the STM, the transportation company in Montreal was paralyzed for 3 days because an employee opened his personal email in the company computer and someone sent him a compromised attachment. When he opened that attachment, it was a ransomware. The ransomware spread into the company network. It encrypted everything, and the network was compromised for 3 days. People were not able to pay or renew their bus tickets.
They down the network.
Yeah,
So now Pegasus is smart. So it's a zero click.
I
So-
cannot hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so it's now that you said so they send the SMS or message. Okay, so now
Yeah, that's something else. That's a vulnerability in the messaging app that doesn't involve any action from you. That's completely different. So, but it highlights the fact that it is important to patch your system.
even
Because what we have noticed is that companies barely update their servers or desktop. Once they set up the server, it is working fine. They will just leave it like that for many years. They will not apply any update because they will be afraid of breaking the server.
Okay.
Yeah, that happened because of a vulnerability in the messaging application. So when you send you receive that email, it will automatically install the malware. So the only thing, the only remediation is to update the
App.
the operating system. I think you are talking about iOS.
iOS, yeah, Android.
Yeah, they already issue a remediation patch for that.
Okay, if my phone is affected, so if I update the iOS, then it will be remedied.
Yes, that was a 0-day exploit.
How about the factory default? If I go in a factory default, it is good.
No, the factory default will not fix the issue because the issue is in the app itself.
Only you're talking about only updates.
Yes, you need to update to a version that has patched the vulnerability.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, and you should also know that there are multiple 0-day exploits. Some of them are not even fixed by Apple, even with the latest iOS 15. So there are a lot of 0 days. When you will patch that, they will use something else. And 0 days are usually harder to detect.
Okay. So is there any software so I can diagnose or scan so I can trace or detect the virus?
So I cannot hear you. Can you come closer to the microphone, please?
I'm talking about, is there any software or application so I can detect my mobile is infected or not? Any application or software?
That is, I don't think there is something. I don't think there is something available for that. But you can always monitor the traffic of your device to detect any suspicious communication. Yeah. Do you have any particular concern about that?
Oh, just I want to make sure if the mobile affected, how to fix it. That's my question. Thank you very much for the information.
Okay, thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah. So, Terry, I have a question.
Yes.
I mean, how does the concern vary from web application to mobile application? Which one is say complex? I mean,
Yeah. The web applications are usually they are public, so it means a hacker can scan the app and attack your server directly to steal the information or compromise your network with ransomware. With the mobile app, it's different because the hacker will need to have some kind of access to your device.
okay.
They may have access to your device, or they can attack the API that is used by your mobile app. If it is not secure, then they can compromise your server and your user database.
Okay. So,
So
does vulnerability detection techniques vary from I mean, for mobile and web?
yes, yes, you will use different approach for both of them. So I will ask one question. Who use data breach detection compromise tool like the I have been pound service?
Okay.
So I can see that not many people are aware of that tool. You remember last year the CIA website was compromised and people hackers log into people account to change the account number or to request the money. Okay, yeah. I will highly recommend you to use tools like I have been pound, because as soon as a data breach will be made public, you will receive a warning. You will receive a warning to change your password, or maybe you can decide to close your account to avoid further compromise. So a lot of accounts before the CRA decide to implement two-factor authentication, a lot of accounts were compromised by using password spreading. So hackers got data from previous data breach, and they try the username password from those data breach against the CRA website, and they were able to log into a lot of people account. But if those people were using a service, a data breach service like that, they will have received an email that their password is compromised, and they will have taken action to remediate that situation.
Okay. Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. That's really valuable for all. I mean, even individual users, not only companies. And
Yeah.
but you have a really, really unique opportunity to ask your questions. Just please don't miss it. Yeah, sure. We have. So Thierry, would anyone write down
The application name, I will share the name with you. It's It is in the slide. So I will share this the slide with you. You can see it. It is called "I Have Been Found."
Mm-hmm.
So it's very easy to use. You will just enter your email address and it will tell you whether it is present in a data breach.
Thank you. That's great. And Thierry, could you please also just give a little bit of information regarding the penetration testing that Idea Bytes can run for the companies and for the services? Just what are we doing in a kind of a snapshot? I think because it's really fascinating, right?
Yeah. I think someone is raising a hand. I don't know who is it.
Yeah, please. Don't be silent. Don't be shy. Ask your questions.
Yes. Hi. This is Moal. I just raised my hand. I have a question for Thierry.
Yes.
Thierry, thank you. Thank you for your presentation today. My question regarding what you just talked about a minute ago, a couple of minutes ago, about the web application and mobile application. And what I would like to ask you is in terms of like risk posed to both, are they faced more or less same risk, or is one is more vulnerable than the other, or are they both on the same level of risk when it comes to any nefarious activities or any attack, be it towards the mobile app or the application itself? If you can just clarify that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. The thing is, it's just a matter of attack surface. So the web application is public, which means anyone can access it. While the mobile application will run on the user device, but usually it has the same issues as the web application, because most of the time it will also talk to an API server. So there may also be vulnerabilities in the application itself, maybe misconfiguration or insufficient validation or accidental data exposure and anything like that. So it is very important to make sure that your application doesn't contain any vulnerability. So I will not say that one application is safer than the other, because it all depends on different factors. Because for example, if your mobile app has a vulnerability, it is already compromised. You cannot compare it to a web application. So even if your your mobile app doesn't have any vulnerability, but the API is not secure, you still have a problem. A lot of applications, especially mobile application, a lot of developers are not applying security recommended security settings. I will take an example of a keyboard app. I think it was a very downloaded keyboard app for iOS and Android. So you could download it in the App Store and start using it. That keyboard app was recording everything you typed, whether it's your name, whether it's your password, your email address, your bank account, everything you type using that app was recorded. The developer will upload information in a database, and that database was not secure. So he didn't apply a password, and a security researcher was able to connect to the backend of that application and to see the content of the database, user passwords, user email, user, everything you type, whether it's an URL, he was able to see all that. He contacted the developer, and the developer addressed that by securing the database. So you need to pay attention whenever you use an application. It can be harmless, like a keyboard, but the security of that app can expose everything from your side, including your password, email address. So it's not about which app is less secure than which other. It's about how the app is implemented. Maybe there is a misconfiguration. Maybe there is a weakness that can be exploited. Maybe there is a lack of authentication. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does, Theory. Appreciate it. You've answered it really well. So thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I haven't.
So it's hard to hear you. Maybe you can write your question.
Yes.
Okay.
So how to get an opportunity idea?
So I didn't hear you. Can you repeat the question?
So how to get an opportunity in Idea Bytes? Company, how to get an opportunity as a new graduate?
So I'm not really in a position to answer that, but you can always send an email to
Yeah, just on
yeah.
our side, basically we have contact information, and
Yeah.
you can contact us through the email. And yes, of course, LinkedIn is also really valuable resource in this respect. Yes, and you can follow our page on LinkedIn, and as soon as anything that suits your profile appears, you can apply. We are really happy to see new talents in our company. Yes, you're welcome. Just we will be glad to welcome you in our company, of course.
We can't hear you, Vera.
Thank you for.
So there are some hands raised by some participants. Could you please just ask your questions, because sometimes it's hard.
Hello?
Yes, please do.
Hello? Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you for your presentation. Really appreciate it. So I have actually I have a question and a concern. Yeah. So my concern is about this COVID COVAX passport.
Yeah.
So as the government as adopting it as as mandating it, so there is a concern of data protection, right?
Yeah.
So in our part, in your presentation, so you gave us really some strategies to protect ourselves, like for example, turning off location and Bluetooth, extra, and reading the privacy policy.
Yeah.
So in the part of the government, so I would like to know if they really took some steps to protect people's data. Yeah, this is my question.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Actually, that question is really hard to understand. I will take the example of what happened here in Quebec. Before the app was released to the public, so the government was saying that the app is very secure. There is no risk, so you can trust the app. You can trust You can trust us with your data. And the next day, a hacker hacked almost all the government official data from that application. So saying that you should trust them with your app, I don't know if you can say that, because a hack is always beyond the control of anyone. The only way to reduce the risk is to assess the security of the application by to get the application security assessed by experts. And the guy that hacked the application was a security researcher. He was telling them that the app is not secure. It is possible to get anyone data, but they didn't listen. They just wanted to push the app to go public.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the only way to make sure that your app is secure is to run at least once a year a security audit by experts.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So another question is about the pen testing. So I know there is one tool called, Kali. We use it for pen testing. So I would like to know if there is another one, because I'm just, starting my cyber security classes. So I just I'm a little bit curious. I haven't done it yet, but yeah, in my research, I found that Kali can be used for pen testing.
Yeah, Kali is not the only the only pen testing platform. There are other platforms as well, such as Black Hash Linux, which has the same purpose of Kali. And you can even use operating systems like Ubuntu to perform your pen testing, or Debian. You don't have to stick to Kali. You can use anything you want as long as you have the proper tools. The advantage of Kali is that it comes with a lot of tools already.
Okay.
So what I will recommend to you is to learn whatever you have. Once you improve your knowledge, then you can check other tools, but they perform similar tasks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. And I have to take off. I have to go somewhere. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Does anybody else have any questions?
Hi. Good
Hi.
morning. Thank you so much, Thierry and Vera, for this presentation from Idea Bytes. I have a quick question. I was wondering if you guys are into Internet of Things testing, or is it just web apps and mobile apps?
Yeah, you mean application testing?
I was talking about, like, in most of the modern homes, we can see the HVAC systems already connected to the local Wi-Fi. Would that be a threat to go into your private networks if it's not configured or patched properly?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yes, I was mentioning about the HVAC systems that's connected to the local Wi-Fi in our homes these days, like smart devices. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have any vulnerabilities that would expose our private networks onto the deep web or anything like that?
Yeah, that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how your router is configured, some devices will open ports directly on your router to connect to the internet. This is, for example, how you heard about the Shodan website.
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah, Shodan is a website where you can view a live stream from
Webcams connected all over the world.
Yes,
Right.
IP cameras
Mhm.
from all over the world. Cameras that are using default credentials or that are not secured correctly. The stream is available on the internet. Why is it available? The camera is connected through the private network, but the camera will open a port on the network, on the router.
Okay. Yes.
And that port is reachable from the internet. So a hacker that managed to connect through that port will have a direct access to the camera and a direct access to your private network.
Exactly.
The same applies for other IoT devices that open ports on the router. This they use the UPnP protocol to open the port. This is why when you have your router, you can disable that protocol on the router, or you can use a firewall like pfSense to manage your connections. It will automatically deny anything that is not authorized.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to see a Willis College alumni talking to us, and all the best for Idea Banks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, time is running out. So, but basically, Thierry, am I correct that we can run penetration testing regarding any type of applications and yeah?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I mean, just actually, Idea Bytes runs penetration testing for companies who apply for that. And just actually, can I just mention that, Thierry? I hope it's not that something of disclosure matter, that we really, recognize many pitfalls that companies are not even aware of. Yeah, so, right? So it's worth, I mean, just all the hassle around these procedures. Yes. Right, Thierry?
Yeah.
Yeah, and here you can see that you can apply for penetration testing. The first test can be performed free of charge. And then if you decide that you need to really get more information and maybe more support and help in order to fix the vulnerabilities in your apps and everything that you have on the web, so we will be more than happy to help you. So be first, yes, be just before somebody hacks you, basically, we will help you to recognize how they can do that and find all the open doors. So does anybody, if anybody, I mean, just nobody basically, sorry, has any questions, we can, I think, finish this session, yeah, till next time. So please, last chance to ask your question. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Basically, so that's it, I suppose, Thierry, right? We can conclude the meeting. And yes, and we will send you the recording of this meeting to your emails that you used to register for this session. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate your time and attention and hope to see you again at our next session. And just, yes. Thierry, would you like to say anything before we finish?
I would like to thank everyone who attended this meeting, and I hope it was useful. And I hope you will take steps to protect yourself. And have a great day.
Yeah, thank you, Thierry. This was really useful. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Vera. Thanks, Theory.